All right, Timmy, how you feel about episode 2?
Yeah, Tammy Davis on here. I feel good. I'm a bit tired today, but we move still.
We move. Let's get the show on the road. All right, guys. Welcome to Backyard Conversations, episode 2. The name's Aji, as always, and I got here my man with me,
Tammy Davis.
All right, let's do it, Timmy. Timmy, so what you been reading this week, man? What has caught your attention?
Honestly, I've been so busy with like my other activities that I haven't read a lot this week. But on the weekend, I went over some Netflix shows.
Okay.
Yeah, I had that Shadow and Bone. I was looking forward to that one actually. It came out when did it come out? I think last Friday. I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so I watched it, I binged it one day, Sunday, cleared it all out. Some interesting concepts to it. So one of the things I usually look forward to in shows when I watch is like a writing style, right? Like if a writer is good, you can tell when there's complex villains, right? Like how everyone was chatting about Black Panther, for example, and Killmonger, right? How it was that complex villain. It wasn't like a true villain in the sense of he had a motive to what he was doing, right? And he wanted to bring Wakanda's sort of power and progress to the rest of the world as well. Right. It's the same thing I feel like in the show. Careful for spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen the show. Yeah, drop that right now.
All right, that's your spoiler warning in case you want to see the show and you haven't seen it just yet.
Exactly. It's the same way I feel like the character in this show also, the villain in the show had his own complex reasons as to doing what he was doing. He wasn't entirely wrong, right? But the writers did a good job in the sense that they had transformed this guy into a true villain by the end of the season, right? Earlier on, you could understand what he was doing, how he went about things. You could kind of relate to the hero and the villain at the same time. But by the end of the show, they had transformed this guy, man, where you actually hate him at the end of the season. So good writing.
That's something I'll definitely look forward to. Do you know if it's based off of a book or comic series?
Yeah,
or what?
It was based off a book. I can't remember what the book is, but yeah, definitely based off a book. It's a fantasy show, right? So it's more, Harry Potter type, Lord of the Ring type of vibe, like magic.
Okay.
And they don't. It's magic to us when we see it, but in the show they explain it as science.
Interesting.
Right? It's like science on a much deeper level, but it's magic, right?
So basically, a different kind of witchcraft.
Exactly. The same way Thor would call, in Avengers, he'd be like, "This is magic," and Iron Man would be like, "It's just science we don't understand yet."
Right.
So it's the same way that this is like a fantasy show where it's like most of what they're doing is what we'll call magic, but they say they're doing science on the elemental level. But yeah.
Man, I don't think I've gotten on to any new shows recently, but I'm all caught up on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as Invincible.
All right.
And I kind of saw the season finale for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'm like...
Was that the finale?
I think it was. I have mixed feelings about it. I genuinely obviously like it, but I'm curious as to how it ended on such a high. And I want to see how they're gonna start like a new season and just like try and draw us back into that universe, because I was expecting something cataclysmic, like the world to all their hopes and dreams to just be shattered in like the finale, but they were all just like laughing and drinking. Maybe I'm just a cynic, I'm just like was looking for something dark to happen, but I hope I'm wrong and it's not the finale. Because it really...
Oh, yeah. I don't really know how many episodes they're meant to be in that show. Like, are they trying to change that into Captain America now in the next season? Or what's going on with that?
We don't know, but there's rumors flying all over the place that Steve Rogers might make an appearance.
Okay.
And remember the fake Cap? He's now...
agent.
He's now the agent, so...
He's going to definitely have his own little spin-off going on.
Exactly. And now that he's got that serum and now he's... Actually, I'm giving you guys a spoiler warning, but here's my spoiler alert. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
So now that he's an agent now and he has his black costume, there's so much that's gonna come out of that character arc, and it's something I'm looking forward to. The Invincible, however, I think is just so amazing.
Yeah, that show is brutal, man.
I love every episode.
Graphic.
And I think one thing I noticed that I actually enjoy about the show that people aren't really talking about is the soundtrack. like the music at the right time just hits the spot. Like it's so well placed. Like for the different characters, the timing of the music, like all the different genres they blend into the show. Like I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't paid too much attention to the soundtrack actually. I think I've just sort of been going.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times I'm watching it passively as well.
Yeah.
But, there's just so much to, catch up on these days. You can't do everything at the same time. Right?
There really is a lot. That's why I try to manage, how many shows I'm watching at a time, because I really want to absorb it. I want to take it all in. I want to really enjoy the experience of the show. And one of the shows I'm looking forward to now that I'm caught up on the two that I'm currently watching, which is Invincible and Falcon and Winter Soldier, is the second season of Ted Lasso.
I haven't seen that one.
My goodness. Hey, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Ted Lasso, do yourself a favor and go watch Ted Lasso. It has no right to be as good as it is. The humor is on point. The performances, I think everything about that show is just so priceless.
Is it more of a comedy show?
It is a comedy, a sports comedy to be precise. It's based off of a series of sketches that the main character performed back when I think it was with NBC Sports. I forget his name. This is embarrassing. But anyways, he's American, like maybe high school or uni football coach, and he moves to the UK to coach like an actual football team. Like I'm sure North Americans call it soccer, but it's literally football because you kick it with your feet, right? Yeah. Everything is just chaos after that. It's such a well-written show. The humor is perfectly timed. The punchlines are where they need to be. Trust me.
I feel like I may have seen like either a trailer or a bit of an episode of this.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
I know they had a promo, 2 different promos with Jose Mourinho when they were trying to promote the show, and Ted Lasso would call him up and ask him about football and how to be a coach in England, and talk and you trust Jose to take a dig at the English press, and also talk about different styles of football, from the defensive type to the offensive type.
Does he make an actual appearance in the show?
He did not make an appearance, but I won't be surprised now that he's been sacked from Tottenham if he shows up in the second season.
Try his luck out of the acting, eh?
I'm telling you. It's Jose after all. He's never too far away from the camera, and he doesn't shy away from it. So yeah, that's one show I'm definitely looking forward to. Do you have any show you're looking forward to?
I have so much going on. The thing is that I don't even... One show that I'm looking forward to coming back, it's not a new show starting, but coming back, is Ozark, right? Because they kind of left at the place where I think they ended at season Ozark. 3 or 4. But Ozark, a good show, and like it just got really dark. So I'm looking forward to that coming back. Hopefully it comes back sometime this year. I don't think they've really given us the timeline of what that is. Snowfall just ended last week. They had the finale as well. So I'm looking forward to that coming back next year.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it got dark really quick on that show.
Snowfall and Ozark right now.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Damson Idris on that one, by the way. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right, shows that I'm yet to see, because I'm really slow with these TV shows. When I take my time with it, I like to like find something and just like take my time with it. I'm just gonna do like a random segue from TV shows right now to like the social sphere and social media and how we interact. And I want to hear your take on the growth or lack of Clubhouse, because I know when it came out, it was like literally a club where you had to wait for your turn to get in, and now it's like, oh yeah, it's just there, it's daytime radio. I'll open the app whenever I feel like it.
I won't tell you, I haven't even opened that thing in a while. Like, I mean, it's one of the usual hype. Like at the start of the pandemic, we saw apps like House Party come out, right, where people were doing multiple platforms. But the thing is that, apart from that, it's not that engaging. Like, it's engaging when you're in the conversation, but you can't passively enjoy it. Like, Twitter, you can passively go on there while you're working, take a little segue from work, scroll through, get back to work. Same thing with, Instagram, those sort of things. But the Clubhouse requires a lot more focus and attention if you really want to be into it. So I feel like, especially now in our times, we don't have that much. Our attention span is a lot shorter, right? And so we do that for a few days. When you do it for a few days, your network, sort of gets constricted. Like when you first start off, you're networking, you're meeting new people, you're connecting. But after maybe a few days of that, you sort of maximize. I mean, I know you can expand network a bit more, but you sort of maximize on it. So it becomes like sort of like a closed network, and you start going into the same groups, seeing the same people, talking about the same thing, and it gets boring real quick, man. So you need to find a way to, get you out of that, man. So maybe go into new groups with more new people or something to keep your interest alive. Because right now, I don't know. And by the way, the new update with the new logo on their app or whatever, like they need to change that ASAP.
If you have the newest version of Clubhouse installed, I'm sure you know what Timmy is talking about. So you're saying compared to other like services online, you quickly hit a diminishing return where it's like, you know what's new here?
Exactly. Like it peaks and it's like a bell curve, right?
Yeah.
It peaks and then it just starts to drop. Like where's the new content, right?
Right.
You see, I don't know, Love Island Canada, for example. It's the same, the same thing they do every day. Like, okay.
I don't even know what happens on Love Island.
It's a dating app now.
Yeah.
I don't know, right?
Oh, okay.
Or they talk, like one group talks about the same thing. There's only so much you can talk about one thing, right?
Right.
Like they talk about the same thing every day with the same people. So it's not like there's a large difference of opinion anyways. So it gets old real quick.
Maybe we need to get on there and start our own rooms and talk about something different.
Yeah, I feel like maybe a better way would maybe be not to see the groups that people you follow are in currently, or I don't know, something like that, where you can go into
feature?
Yeah, like they do have an explore feature, but how many people go on there? You go on your homepage, you see mostly groups where people are in, right, and then you join it. But if there's a way to sort of put that to the side and just go to another page where it's just like random other groups that you can actually join in based on maybe location, for example, it might pique people's interest, right?
Interesting. And I think my fear for Clubhouse is, even though they're kind of sort of growing, because people who've been waiting in line to get on Clubhouse will get that same feeling that we had when we first joined. It's like, okay, we're here now, what's next? But it really does feel like one of those things that every app can steal and integrate into their social network. And that's already happening. And also
that what you just mentioned, that brought that to mind as well, with the fact that back in the day there were not so many people on Clubhouse. So like getting that invite, people were coming in and joining. So it was getting more interesting as people were waiting to get like, I want to get on Clubhouse, Right. And they finally got in it. And it's like, okay, but now I feel like they've reached the peak maybe of like users in Apple. So maybe they need to go into Android or something and get that going. So
yes, there's plans to release like an Android version soon, obviously, but
and get that on that platform, and then maybe some connectivity type of thing. Maybe that would get it, going again. I don't know what they have to do, but you need to get someone in the team working on it.
I know they've been collaborating with like brands to try and create some kind of unique experiences, and they do a lot of like panels with like CEOs from like Fortune 500 companies and whatever. But a lot of these guys just probably end up coming on Clubhouse to tell them they're gonna be stealing Clubhouse and include it as a feature in their app, because I'm sure there's the audacity, right? Because Telegram already has a feature like that. Zuckerberg, as always, and Facebook. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg if you're listening.
He's always listening.
Yeah, he's gonna be integrating that obviously with his platform. And Twitter has Spaces, but I know Spaces has been in the works for a few years now, so it's one of those things that I'm not surprised it's launching now. As a matter of fact, I knew about Spaces before I knew about Clubhouse. So that's how long there's been gossips in the Twitter sphere about a voice like add-on to the already existing features.
Clubhouse definitely just, for me, it came out of the blue. I didn't know about them at all when they even came out, and they use one of the most effective marketing and advertising features ever, which is word of mouth. Word of mouth is the most powerful tool for advertisement, right? It is the most powerful tool, and it's just that thing where it's like, oh, have you been on Clubhouse? Oh no, do I have invites? I'll invite you right now, type of thing, right? That's exactly what they use to build their followership.
And even that exclusivity, right? Like people are always trying to like get on it. Like, what exactly is happening there? Like, let me in. I want to see what you guys are doing over there.
And the fact that, people enjoy that, I can put my opinion out there, I can come and talk, express it. Like sometimes it's a bit harder, like Twitter, you can type it down, but you can't have that same dialogue you can have when you're speaking, right? When you're speaking, the dialogue is a little bit more intense, right?
Even more intimate too, right?
Yeah, exactly. But again, that sort of dies down when you're talking about the same thing, right?
Over and over and over again.
Exactly.
So, Clubhouse, I don't know if it has a future or not, but I guess we'll wait and see, like with many things.
We will.
When it comes to, still speaking about, Clubhouse and the power of voice, what do you feel about paid podcast subscriptions, because Apple announced in their Spring Forward event last week that they're going to be integrating paid podcasts as a feature into the podcast app. And then a couple of days later, Spotify announced that they're going to be doing the same thing. And podcasts have always been like this thing where it's as free as it gets when it comes to content online, right? And the ads are integrated nicely that a lot of people don't even bother about skipping ads on podcasts.
Yeah,
but
it's
now
like a radio show, you know?
Right. So now it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's been free forever. Now we're going to have to start paying for some of it. Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, it might work in a sense if you're paying for the platform, right, on a subscription type of basis. But, I mean, paying for individual podcasts, I don't think that's going to work. Like going to the movies and paying for a movie, right? I don't think anyone would be out there saying, okay, I just want to pay for a podcast, right? Like, I'd rather pay for a subscription service where I know I can get access to 100 different titles, right? And I can listen to that whenever, going to work. But, I mean, these days, it's hard to say. Like, we're living in a different world. We have COVID. We're not on the road as much. I feel like... I haven't looked at the stats, but I feel like maybe listening to podcasts is probably maybe even sort of gone down. Because, like, I mean, before you maybe go on the train to work, right? And you listen to that on the train. But now we're not doing that anymore as much. We're waking up later and just starting work right away, right? So it's a whole different ballgame. I don't know. So it's like, I'm going to pay for my podcast. I'm going to pay for my Netflix subscription. I'm going to pay for my Disney Plus. I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to pay for my music. I feel like it's a whole lot of music. I feel like audio, maybe we should lump that together like it's been, like get our podcast and our music. Right? As opposed to have to pay a separate subscription. But who am I, man? The marketing executives, they know what they're doing, I guess, right? That's
exactly.
They pay them, they overpay them. But we'll see how that works out for them. I wouldn't be paying though, even though I'm a podcast right now. I'm just saying.
Hey, if you're listening and you're trying to be a sponsor and you're trying to help us make some money, and even if it's by subscription, please holler at us, because I won't mind making some money right now.
You can do Interact as well.
There you go. Yeah, well, honestly, what you said about the statistics, I feel like it might be either or, because for me, being at home, like, I don't have a commute, like you said, right? And that makes me, or rather gives me an opportunity to listen to even more podcasts, because I can be listening while I make coffee or while I take a walk. I consume a lot more podcasts. And I think that the method and how they want to approach this payment option for podcasts is going to be surprisingly attractive, in the sense that we already have shows we listen to and love, but what if we could get more, right? So I feel like we already have what we like, and they're like, yeah, you know what, there's actually a little bit more. You can pay a low fee of like $1.99 per month, and you're gonna get like brochures. If you listen to like an investment podcast, for example, you're gonna be getting PDFs, you're gonna be getting all this newsletter, all this stuff, and then you're gonna get free invites to, guess what, our Clubhouse room, right, where we're gonna talk about what to be investing in the third quarter. Like, there's so many ways they could pull this off. Yeah,
again, like I said, I mean, it could work, but I think it will work as an all-in subscription with audio, so sound. Because I'm thinking about what you're saying now in terms of people staying at home. I personally feel like, depending on what podcast it is, I probably need a little bit more concentration. Like, while I'm working. While I'm working, I can listen to music. Cause you don't have to listen to it actively, right? Yeah. Even with lyrics, you don't have to listen to it actively, right? You can just be in passive, the background. But with podcasts, you might need a bit more concentration. But I was thinking of podcast subscriptions in terms of, satellite radio. Yeah, like Sirius XM. Sirius XM and those kind of things, right? But then I thought about it, and I was like, those guys have interviews, they have little talk shows here and there, but they also have music. Like, it's a whole shebang of things, right? Yeah, and there's a lot of different channels on there that you can go on. So it's a bigger thing. So I feel like it probably has to work the same way if you want to do, sort of like a podcast. I'm glad you said that, because the two biggest quote unquote podcast providers right now are Apple and Spotify, and Apple is like majority market shareholder in that regard. You should know that they already have Apple One, where you subscribe to like Apple Music, Apple News, Apple TV Plus, and then iCloud, and then Apple Fitness Plus. They're just gonna add podcasts to it. Like, you're talking about the bundle, right? Spotify can do the same thing. They already have music, and it's gonna be like, for an extra $1.99 a month, you can get the whole bundle. So I think that's the way to go for them. Like, since they already like the two key players in this market, they're definitely gonna look at bundling, because nobody wants to be paying an extra like, just get like a new subscription like altogether, I guess, for podcasts. But I mean, if they're going to be paying that, they already have the infrastructure in place. I feel like if they're going to do that, they should work it out in a way where the majority, like a good chunk of the money, goes to the content providers,
the creators.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I have no qualms if I like a creator and they're doing something nice, and I want to support the movement, or want to support the product or the service. Like why not, right? So they have to make it in such a way that they get like a good chunk.
Yeah, because it's not like they're investing in any extra infrastructure, to be honest, for this, because the infrastructure is already in place, right? They have the apps already. They have all of this, so like they can't say, oh, when are we getting our money back or something like that. No, like get the content providers some money so they can provide even better quality of content, right?
Speaking of Spotify, what do you think about their CEO coming out to say he wants to put some cash on the table and buy this not too unfamiliar club from North London?
I mean, I guess Spotify is starting to see itself as a multinational player in multi-industries. It's seeing itself as more than just maybe trying to go the Tesla route, where Tesla sees itself as more than just a car company, right?
Yeah.
Like this is as a tech firm, doing a bunch of whole different things. Maybe that's what Spotify wants to do now, right? If that works for them and it makes their shareholders happy, I mean, good on them, but
But I think it's more about the owner trying to put money on the table than Spotify trying to have a stake. Yeah. So I think he's just trying to wrestle the club away from people.
Has he got that kind of money though?
I mean, he can raise some, but I also know that he's not going in alone. Like Thierry Henry has come up to say, yeah, I'm going to be joining you if you really want to pull this through. So guys are going to raise money. It's not hard to raise money. Look at what they were doing with the Super League, right? So,
I mean, I welcome all investments into the Prem, because I mean,
yeah,
I don't know what's going on there, but like they need some more money to get things going again, I guess.
Yeah, they really do.
All, like the Prem as we know it, has changed, right? It's changed a lot as we know it from, let's say 2012, 2013, those days, right?
Yeah.
It's changed a lot to now. So, I mean, it's
almost some beg to differ that maybe it changed for the better, though, in some areas.
In terms of what, like competition maybe? Or
yeah, I think even though you have, obviously, City came in with all this oil money and just like became this juggernaut where they can just get any player they want, right? Win any titles they want, having one of the greatest managers in the world, at the helm. But then you have a season where a club like Leicester, who tragically lost their owner to a helicopter crash, like still in the top three. You have clubs like West Ham. Obviously, Liverpool are having a terrible season, and some other the usual suspects in the top six are not having the best of seasons. But you have like clubs that usually wouldn't even have a sniff at top four, wrestling for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we're just going through a reshuffling season, as it always happens, right? Like Liverpool and co were top clubs back in the Bolton Wanderers, like, do you know what I mean? All these clubs were top clubs back in the reshuffle happens every few years.
It really does. Rinse and repeat.
Things get rearranged. So maybe that's what we're seeing right now. But who knows? I mean, if the Spotify owner, if he wants to, or CEO, if he wants to come in and put some money into it, by all means, right? That's his own personal investment. Do what you got to do. I don't mind who the owners are. Bring some diversity into ownership.
I honestly, I think a lot of owners who are not familiar with like,
as long as he doesn't interfere, with the workings of football.
See, that's the thing, cause
like a certain Red Devil club,
football teams and owning them, it's not really as profitable as it seems from the outside. It's just all glamour, right? And it's just a name and some of the deals that these clubs can strike with like sponsors and whatnot, but it's really, really, really tough to break even running a football club. So I'm sure this guy has done his homework. He knows what he's getting himself into.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I feel like if he's going into something like Arsenal as well, right? Like you said, he's done some work. Like they already have their stadium, for example, but that's not something they'll be thinking about when he comes in. So there might be better room to get money if they can, be a top competing team, not the one we're seeing right now.
Right.
Be a top competing team that can win trophies and bring some more money and sponsorship deals in. Then it might be a good investment, right?
That's true.
But who knows? Wait and see.
All right. So I think we're gonna wrap it up with the Arsenal gang and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and the rest of the crew. Thanks for listening today. As always, this is yours truly, Aji, and as always, hanging out with
Tammy Davis on the mic.
This is Backyard Conversations. Cheers.